believe that if I keep doing what the Lord has instructed me to do, if I keep honoring and keeping his word and making actions that align with that, he's going to make it all work out in the end.
100%.
Right. And so I've been focused on less results, more consistency.
Yeah. You pull off the
And let
table
it,
because you hit a certain, and then you blame them for
mm-hmm,
why you don't have it no more.
mm-hmm,
Right. Versus you being honest. Now, I told my lady from the jump, I'm a college student. You know what I'm saying? Yes, do I want to go do dates? Yes, do I want to travel? Absolutely. But I can't do all of that right now.
yep, man. It
Right?
ain't
Are you?
nothing like that feeling of when you got to turn the brightness down on your phone, log into your bank app, see, do I got it? Okay, we going to be all right.
Yeah.
Or, nah, I don't know how we going to make this one shake.
Right.
Right? That is
Right. Or you have frequent visits to the payday loans to borrow money he knows that he can't repay. This ain't something he's gonna tell you about.
yeah,
But he gonna go pick up a loan.
yeah,
Then he gonna have them payments on those loans.
yep,
And one of the worst things I did, it was 2 years ago. I couldn't. I needed to take my dog to the vet. I knew I didn't have no bread for it, and I knew it was gonna cost me about $350. So I called them and said, "Hey, can I do a payment plan?" They was like, "No, but we have a system that you can get a loan. You get approved for $2,000 today." So they approved me for $1,500.
What's up, y'all? It's Miles the Millennial.
And it's your boy Rex Howard Jr.
And this is Let's Talk Like Men, the podcast where we have real conversations about real topics, providing real advice to men like you everywhere. And we are back again with another episode. It is episode 57. We are in our Silence is Violence series, Rex. How you doing today, brother?
Man, 57?
Yeah, 57, bro.
It's crazy, but I'm actually doing really good. I just got back from Connecticut, Hartford, Connecticut. Had to spoke at a symposium on trauma for
Yeah.
men. Made a lot of great connections. Got some new coaching clients. I got the opportunity to see family because I got about 25 to 30 family members that live up there.
Really?
And it was my first time being around family in a long time.
Yeah.
And we went out bowling, bro. Went out to a restaurant. Had a really, really good time. Also got to see my brother. So I'm feeling blessed and feeling recharged, man. Ready to tackle this episode.
That's good,
How you
brother.
feeling?
I feel the same way. The Lord put something on my heart, which is one of the greatest displays of faith that you can give. And maybe the greatest display of faith that you can give in God is your consistency.
Yeah.
Right? Is your ability to continue to do the things that need to be done regardless of what's happening in life. That shows faith in him because you believe that if I keep doing what the Lord has instructed me to do, if I keep honoring and keeping his word and making actions that align with that, he's going to make it all work out in the end.
100%.
Right? And so I've been focused on less results, more consistency.
Yeah.
And let everything else flow from there.
100%.
So I'm feeling recharged. My mind is right. I don't even remember, where was I at? Oh, I went to a wedding this past weekend. That was
Dallas.
awesome, bro. I was up in Dallas and that was awesome.
Were you in the wedding?
No, I wasn't in the wedding.
Okay.
But shout out to London and Darius for your union. I can't wait to see what God does through you guys. It was a beautiful thing.
It's a blessing.
Man, so we're about to hop into this episode, but before we start, we want to talk about today's sponsor, which is Natural E-Man Products, man. We're going to point this camera to Rex real quick. So Rex is showing you guys, we always walk around with this every single day. We take it. It's like our daily supplement. Natural E-Man has so many benefits. When you talk about from the perspective of boosting your libido, testosterone levels, helping you just be more energetic as a man, you're going to feel like more of a man. It has beetroot powder and a number of other superfoods and great ingredients in there that are all natural. It is urologist approved, and it's going to be something that's just going to improve the overall longevity and health in your life, man. So make sure you guys check it out. It's going to improve you in the bedroom. It's going to improve you in all your exercise that you do outside of there. And it's going to make your brain and your mind just be sharp and powerful. And we are users of it every single day. So we're a testament to what it can do.
Absolutely.
Well, all right, man. Without further ado, bro, let's talk like men. All right, cool. So we've been in this Silence is Violence series for 2 weeks now. This will be part 2 of it. The first one that we did was Silence is Violence. What happens when a man goes silent in his relationship?
Yeah.
Today's episode is going to be about what happens when a man goes silent with his finances.
Yeah.
Right? When he's in periods of struggle and money is a big concern and he goes real quiet about it. What are the things that happen? What are the consequences of those things? And what are the key signs of those things? So Rex is going to go first with his first point. But before we do that, guys, make sure if you're watching this episode on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, any of those other platforms, we're asking that you guys divert your attention to YouTube and watch on there because we are super close to monetization. We truly believe that throughout the course of this series, we will reach monetization if we get everybody that's listening on podcasts to come to YouTube. You can go back to the podcast afterwards, but just rock with us for a little bit. So while we get there, and we'll be solid. So
absolutely. And let me add this too.
Sure.
No matter what you listen on, leave a review.
Absolutely.
Drop a comment. That's one thing we don't ask much of. But if you are listening and you enjoy the show, leave a review, leave a comment, rate the show so we can get boosted up on these other platforms too.
Absolutely. Well, Rex, I want to hear your point number one. What happens when a man goes silent about his finances?
Absolutely. Well, first, let me start off by saying this is a personal episode simply because I've been in a silent season for years,
Yeah.
right? I grew up in a silent home when it comes to finances. So we knew that there were seasons where we were flourishing. Then we also felt when the seasons where we weren't flourishing at all. There was a major shift in the household. There was a major shift in the communication. There was a major shift in what we was able to do and what we couldn't do.
Yeah.
And that energy like transitioned from early adolescence to high school to college, even to after, getting my master's.
Yeah.
But now I'm finally in a season to where I'm no longer silent because I feel like I'm in a state of beginning to flourish.
Yeah.
So I wanted to preface by saying that. But first point, when a man goes silent with his money, he's either in a season of grinding or a season of suffering, right? Let's talk about the suffering.
Yeah.
I remember moving to Houston. I say this on many episodes. Moving to Houston with $1,200 to my name, right? Getting to Houston, spending money to pay my rent, spending money to get a few things for the household. I got $75 left over,
Yeah.
right? With that $75, I needed to eat, I needed to get gas, and I needed to make sure my dog was good. That's not much,
Yeah.
right? If a mistake happened, an emergency happened, if I had a tire blowout, life is almost over with, right? And during that time, you don't feel good as a man.
Yeah.
You don't feel good as a friend because there's a lot of things you have to miss out on. There's a lot of things that you can't do. You got to get comfortable with being at the crib.
Yeah.
And that's one thing I wasn't used to because when I was in college, I'm always out and about.
Yeah.
Everybody's broke in college.
Yeah. That's a fact.
You can make a lot happen when you're broke in college.
$75 rich.
100%. Especially when you got meal bucks and things of that nature. And, everybody's going in on certain things. So it just makes a lot of stuff cheaper. But what happens when you are in a new city, a new state, 14 hours away from home, 14 hours away from family, and it's just you,
Yeah.
right? It was a season, a major season. It felt like suffering because there was bills that would come that sometimes I didn't have the money for.
Yeah.
There were things I would ask for that I didn't have the money for. There was things that I needed, like, for example, even going to get checkups, going to the hospital, getting dental care, everything, the things that I needed, I have to put on pause.
Yeah.
And one of the biggest things during the season when I moved into Houston was I needed therapy.
Yeah.
Simply because I had just experienced being robbed a couple months ago. I still had a little bit of paranoia, a lot of PTSD that came from the experience, a lot of anxiety, and a lot of night terrors.
Yeah.
And I was on my mom's insurance. I was 26 years old, 25 years old.
Turned 26.
Turned 26. Insurance dropped me.
Yep.
And my therapist is like, all right, Mr. Howard, it seems like there's been an adjustment. So these sessions would now be $125 every time you visit. That was way more than I could afford.
Yeah.
Right. So I had to even pull back on getting help mentally and emotionally simply because I was in a season of not having it, a season of lack. So yeah, man, you're either going to be in the season of winning and grinding or a season of suffering. And I found myself in the season of suffering for a while.
Man, when you're in that season of suffering and you just don't have it, what are some of the emotions that you're feeling on a day-to-day basis, right? Like you said, you have to say no to a lot of stuff. You're by yourself often. You're constantly thinking about the next bill. You're constantly having to worry about if something goes wrong.
Yeah.
I ain't got nothing left. What are the emotions and the effects that come from that?
Bro, anxiety, worry, being overwhelmed, being anxious, always like being almost sadness and a sense of depression because you realize that every time you go somewhere, you got to look at your bank account, right? And you're looking at, and this is when things get worse, right? I remember being at a convenient gas station with one of my guys in Houston. He was like, yo, Rex, you mind to grab me a Gatorade? And I knew,
Like, I ain't got it.
I knew that Gatorade was going to wipe me out.
Yep.
So, but having to say, having to get up there and knowing that I was going to be $1 over, but trying to swipe my card anyways, and him being behind me, hey, dog, you mind to put this on your card? He's like, you ain't? Okay, baby, I got you.
Yep.
Or situations like this happen. You know you in a tough spot. So I remember I reached out to my brother one time. I said, "Yo, bro, you cash out me 20?" And he was like, "Yeah, no doubt."
Yeah.
No, I said, "Can you send me 20?" And I wanted wait on his response. I was in the negatives at that time. He sent it to my Cash App, which is directly connected to my bank account. So instead of me having plus 20, I had $5
Oh man.
because it brought me out the negatives and only put
But
$5
it
in
only
my
gave you
account.
5 left.
So even with that, bro, that puts you, makes you sad. That makes you depressed. That makes you angry. It's like, damn, why am I in this?
Yo.
Right?
How long I'm finna be here?
How long am I going to be here? Absolutely.
That's real, man. It ain't nothing like that feeling of when you gotta turn the brightness down on your phone, log into your bank app, see, do I got it? Okay, we gonna be all right.
Yeah.
Or, nah, I don't know how we gonna make this one shake.
Right.
Right? That is a feeling that hurts, man. Like I remember, you know, one of the toughest moments for me was when I had to, for the first time in my life, actually like reach out to my sister and ask her for some money because I was just struggling that much financially. Whenever that happened, it was just like, I don't know who I am anymore.
Yeah.
It was like my whole identity because I didn't come from struggle financially, right? I didn't come from wealth, but you know, a normal middle class home where, you know, we had what we needed and we had most of what we wanted. So when I was in my personal journey and I had to ask somebody for money, it's like, who am I?
Yeah.
And I had to redefine myself because all I knew was comfort financially. All I knew was that money gonna be there when I swipe. I never really knew. And if I didn't have the money, it was never that serious. I was in college. Who cared?
Yeah.
But when you really needed it and you didn't have it and you had no way to figure out where it was going to come from, that was when I was like, man, I'm really at a low point. But it was really important because it built character in me.
Yeah.
Right. And it also put a drive in me to say, okay, I don't want to be back here. What are some things that I can do different going forward to change that? So that period of suffering does something to a man.
It does, but like you said, it builds that character.
Yeah.
If you do it and sit in it the right way.
Absolutely.
Because I'm gonna share something with you that blessed me. I looked at my numbers, and for the month of June, I just hit my first 10K month.
That's amazing, bro.
You know what I'm saying? And it took me back, and I remember coming to Houston that first year. The most I would make in a month is $1,700, and that's me Ubering every single day, right? So, and the most I would make in a 5 to 6 hour Uber session is probably 125.
Yeah.
God has put me in a position to make that an hour at the office.
Yeah.
Right. So it's been a complete shift, but it's also been 5 years
Yeah.
of building and developing.
Yeah.
5 years of being broke, 5 years of suffering, 5 years of saying no, 5 years of staying committed, 5 years of saying, all right, God, listen, I'm here.
Yep.
Of not knowing what's going to be next, but we just showing up anyways. And now we're at a space and a point to where like, okay, we know the money's going to be there. Now it's learning what to do with it.
That's a beautiful place to be when you came from not even having it.
Come on now.
You know, and the question is to the men that are listening to this, are you willing to wait 5 years?
Man.
Are you willing to say no for 5 years? Are you willing to be consistent with no results for 5 years? Are you willing to trust in God's word and what he spoke over your life for 5 years? Are you willing to sit down for 5 years?
Yeah.
Are you willing to feel embarrassed and all those things that are going to come with not being able to be a part of certain things? Are you willing to do it for 5 years so that you can be at 10K a month?
Yeah.
Because everybody wants that number. Hell, I want that number.
Man.
Don't get me wrong. But I got to put in the work.
Yeah.
He earned that. And so rather than be jealous or covet what he has, I take that as a sign for me and as a message to me. And I want every man to internalize this. How are you denying yourself in order to get to what you desire? Because your destiny is going to directly be proportional to your ability to deny.
Yeah.
Your ability to withhold. What you do there will magnify what you get on the other end.
Yeah.
So if you can't deny yourself, don't expect great things on the other end. Expect suffering.
Absolutely.
All right, we're going to go on to my point number one. My point number one is when a man is suffering in silence from his finances, he will become easily angered whenever topics of money come up, whenever topics of giving come up, and whenever topics of provision come up.
Talk about it. Talk about it.
He will be easily triggered, right? I know me personally. When I'm in a season of where I don't got it, talking about taking care of somebody else, talking about going on trips somewhere, talking about going on dates, pisses me off.
Triggers.
The funny thing is, the person won't know. Like my woman won't know. She won't be realizing because I haven't told nobody. I'm suffering in silence. I'm not opening up about what I'm going through. And I remember distinctly telling my lady, like, every single time she would bring up stuff that she wanted to do, because I always had it in our relationship to be able to do it. And she's like, why do you keep saying like no? Why you keep getting so upset whenever we talk about doing this or doing that? I'm like, because everything costs something, babe. Like, what you mean I'm broke? She thinking that I'm joking about being broke and how broke I am. I'm like, girl, you don't know. Like, I'm broke. And she's like, okay, you keep saying that. Like, what's really going on? Because I don't understand. I don't really get what you're saying and where you're coming from. Like, I know you got investments. I know you got this. And I'm like, nah, baby, that money, I don't even touch that money. That money don't exist to me. That's our nest egg for the future. But the money that I do have to pay my bills, to spend, I have nothing when I'm done every single month. And I told her the truth about it.
Yeah.
And I would be so mad. And I'll explain the other side of that later, but I became so mad every time she would bring up a conversation about anything that involved money. Why are you always sending me TikToks about places to go eat or going to date in Houston? Leave me alone. I'm broke. We can go watch this movie in the house. We do not have to go spend this $50 at this movie theater. Please leave me be. We can go do a picnic.
Yeah.
Yes. Go to Perry's Steakhouse. No.
Facts.
Everything that costs too much would anger me, man. It would piss me off, bro. I would be triggered so easily. And you see that even in conversations of being a provider.
100%.
Right? A lot of times especially because in society, we associate it solely with finances, which is not true. It is not simply finances, but finances is a part of that, right? And what you're bringing to the relationship from a financial perspective is important. But we will be so upset about that conversation because we feel less than when it comes up because we know we ain't there yet.
Yep.
But the key is, are you defining yourself by where you're at right now? Or are you defining yourself by how God defined you,
100%.
who he called you to be, who you are becoming? Because if you are defining yourself by who you're becoming, then it's not a problem that right now I don't have it.
Yeah.
Because I'm in my becoming phase and I'm accepting of the fact that I'm in my becoming phase. I'm putting in work. And so while you may not see, these women out here may not recognize that I'm there yet, the ones who do, that woman that sees it, she will be the one that reaps the benefit and the reward for sticking by me during my becoming season. But the fear is, and a lot of the struggle comes with the fact that you want to be with people who have already become or who are already at a certain place or who demand a certain level of things. And you aren't there yet and you feel less than because you can't meet their needs.
Yeah.
Just go be with somebody who appreciates the fact that you're in your becoming season.
Yeah.
So, whenever topics of finances come up or money is involved in the conversation, you will get very angered and triggered when you are suffering silently from a lack of finances as a man.
Man, that's so good. And it does remind me of the 50-50 conversation.
Yeah.
It does remind me of that men are supposed to do this, men are supposed to do that.
Yeah.
And as a man, you think to yourself, if I'm struggling myself, right? If I'm struggling myself, you almost see every single woman as a liability. Right? Because,
Dang, bro.
they have their own personal maintenance.
Yep.
And then there's that expectation to, is my man going to take care of this for me?
Absolutely.
Anytime you go out to eat, you're looking at the numbers. When I go out by myself, I can decide and I can control how much money I'm spending. I can have a great time at $26.
Yep. I'm going to just get that chicken breast and that water.
I can have a great time. But when your partner comes with you, man, everything doubles or triples.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? I remember my lady asked me, hey, can we go to Drake's? I said, well, I think that's a celebratory type of meal.
Yeah.
And she was like, why is that? I said, because of the cost.
Yeah.
Right. And you count the cost with everything when you're in that season. Even when you're outside of that season, it's good to count the cost so you can be financially responsible.
Absolutely.
But I just remember being triggered when you hear people talk about what a man is supposed to do, how a man is supposed to spend his money.
Yep.
The entitlement that came from women would trigger me.
Yep.
Simply because, what do you mean this is what I'm supposed to do?
Exactly.
Or what are you doing?
What are you doing?
Right. So you'll find yourself in that different season, and you will feel less of a man. You will take a blow to your ego anytime you have to say no.
Yep.
And that goes into my point, right?
Yep.
Which is a man that is silent. When a man goes silent in his money, he is forced to say no to things, not because he wants to, but because he can't afford it.
That's good.
Right? So, and it makes you think about it like this. You may have a partner. You may have a woman in your life. She wants to do something based off what it feels like.
Yeah.
This place looks really nice, and I think it would be great for us to go here, right? I really love this. I bet I could breathe. I bet I can do this. And the man is going to think about, how much is that going to cost me?
Absolutely.
Right.
Yep.
How much is that vacation? How much is that Caribbean cruise? How,
Yep.
how much is that plane ticket going to cost me?
Yep.
And I used to always have this thing in my mind where, like, if my friends asked me to do certain things or come out to celebrate, I could always afford to either get there or to be there, but it was always missing one. If I spent on both, I wouldn't have no money.
Yep.
Or I'll get there and I have to turn certain things down.
Yep.
Because you think about it, every time a friend plans a trip, there's an itinerary.
Absolutely.
And you want to see that bad boy.
Yep.
Or y'all want to go paintballing, y'all want to go to the bar, then y'all want to go here. And then nobody wants to be on a budget when they're out of
Absolutely.
town. But when you're that friend that has to be on a budget, when you're that friend that say, oh, no, I'm good. I'm not putting it on that bottle because I'm straight. I just won't drink.
Yep.
And then you got to, you find yourself in that situation where you're looking for somebody to say, oh, bro, I got
I
you.
got you. Yeah.
But you don't want to be in that.
Yep.
Right.
That's good. That's good. You still
Not good.
But it's funny. I just was having a conversation yesterday. Me and a lady were just hypothesizing, or pondering thoughts on destination weddings and stuff and locations. This girl said Greece. I said, hold on, hold on. I thought we was thinking like something in the Caribbean, you know what I'm saying? With the beach, something like that.
Cancun.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Maybe San Juan. I don't know, some. She said Greece. I said, girl, you know how much a flight to Greece is alone?
Yeah.
And then I said, you got to think about our guests because it's not even about us, right? Like destination weddings require a lot of planning because it's a lot of cost on the people you love to get there.
Yep.
So I told her, I'm like, I need you to think about this.
Yep.
The places that we're going to be considering when the time comes, because you're talking about $800 to $1,000 on the low end just for somebody to get there. Not to mention they're gonna have to get their passports,
Yeah.
the stay that for wherever they're gonna be staying at, anything that they want to do while they're there. Do we really want people having to spend $1,500 to $2,000 just to come celebrate it with us? But the thing is, women don't typically think that way. They think about what it's going to feel like. They think about how beautiful the place is going to be. They think about how things are going to look at the end and how it's going to be this magical moment.
Yeah.
But as a man, we don't have that luxury because from a very early age, I don't care if you came from money or you didn't, men are taught from a financial perspective, you better learn how to say no.
Yeah.
Everything costs something. You got to earn and you got to work for something. Women are from the perspective of when you find a man, y'all can have your fairy tale dream wedding. You're going to be able to have this, you're going to have that. And that is not reality.
Yeah.
Reality is everything costs something. And somebody got to pay the bill.
Somebody got to pay it.
When it comes due, every single time that you bring something up to your man, that is what your man is thinking. I'm telling the ladies that now, even men that have money, he's thinking about it.
Yeah.
I know extremely affluent men, multi-million-dollar owners who at the end of the day, when they lady bring up money, they got to think about what that costs.
Yeah.
They have to learn how to set budgets, even though they have an abundance of money, because guess what? If you don't, things will go out of hand and go south really quick.
Yeah.
But you build that muscle, fellas. You build it in the seasons when you don't have it.
Yep.
It's really difficult to try and figure out what to do once you have money. It's a lot easier if you learned how to say no when you never had something, because then when you have it, you'll have the ability to say, no, it's not an uncomfortable thing for me to do.
Yeah.
I can set boundaries and I can set balance for what is okay and what isn't okay. But you're not lying, man. You have to say no to things, not because you don't want to do them, but because you just can't.
Right.
And that is a tough feeling. It doesn't feel good, but it's a necessary thing that you have to go through.
Exactly. And then just to add to that, right? That no becomes not right now.
Yeah.
When you put yourself in position.
Absolutely.
Right? Because you're right. If you're doing this bad boy in silence and your partner doesn't know this position that you're in, your no is going to seem permanent. Your no is going to come with a harsh blow.
Yeah.
Your no is going to feel like disappointment to her.
Yeah.
Your no is going to turn into, when it comes to her, she's like, what, but why?
Yep.
Why can't we?
Yep.
Right? And you're going to start to see her overcompensate for you. And now it's like you have to have that hard conversation.
Yep.
Because if you're not willing to have that hard conversation about where you currently are, they're going to keep asking, and every single time you turn them down, it's going to be a level of disappointment.
Yeah.
It's going to be a lack of execution.
Yep.
She's going to start doing things herself.
Yep.
Or if she's in position to do something, she's just going to take herself out with her friends. Right? While you got to
Leave you
sit
be.
there. Right. Exactly. So,
You know, I've been liking to ask these little off-topic questions.
yeah.
Isn't that selfish, though? Isn't that like super selfish? Because we would never do that to our woman,
Right.
right? And I'm not speaking on my woman in
Yeah.
particular doing that particular action, but like, it's kind of crazy to me because if I'm in a situation where I have it
Yeah. We
enough
good.
for me to do it, then we got it,
Yeah.
right? Or we just both not gonna do it. But I'm not going to put my woman in a position to where it's like, well, shoot, you can't come, so you stay here.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go have this fun with my friends. I'm not gonna do that to my woman. If it's something
Yeah.
that we had planned on doing together, then we gonna do it together one way or another.
Yeah.
We are or we aren't. But it's going to be the same. Ain't that kind of selfish though?
It is. No, it's very selfish, and this is. I'm sure this is going to be a clip. So, ladies, when you see this, answer this question in the comments. If you're rocking with a guy and he's known to be upfront with his finances, he's known to pay for dates, he's known to think about you and just be very intentional. If he's in a season of stacking or in a season where he's got to put things on pause, which you guys are normally doing, he can't do it for this season. Are you the type of woman? Are you the type of partner to pick up where he left off and say, you know what, baby, I got you because you've had us? Or are you the type to say, you know what, you continue to stack. I'm just going to do these things with my girls. And when you're ready, I'll be back.
there.
I'll be here.
Yeah.
Which type are you? Drop it in the comments.
That's gonna be good, man. I want to see these responses, and one thing I want the women that are watching this episode to understand: if you with the right man that has the right mindset, you see his hunger, you see his consistency, you see he's able to communicate the plan that he's working on. I want y'all to be very cognizant because that's a man that's gonna win.
Yeah.
He cannot be held back for long. That man is going to win, but do you have the patience to be able to watch him become?
Yeah.
And if you don't be the one that try to come back around once he got it. Don't be the one that wants to sit there and hit him up when you see him going on the trips now and doing all these things. The woman who's with him in his becoming season is going to be the woman who reaps the benefits of it.
100%.
And we are testaments
100%.
to that in our relationships, being in multiple phases where we've had it, not had it, have it now. We are testaments to those things, and our women reap those benefits even more than we do.
Yep.
We make sure our ladies are taken care of, but at the end of the day, are you the type of woman that would stick by him in his process of becoming?
Yeah. What you got, brother?
I'm going on to my point number 2. My point number 2 is when a man is suffering silently with his finances, it's kind of an inverse of what you were talking about. He will say yes to things that go against his financial status and the plan that he has, just to appear like he has it all together when he doesn't.
Goodness.
Right? And this is something I've experienced personally. It's something that I have seen so many times. You go out with your boys hit you up, come on, man, come out tonight. Let's go do this. Let's go do that. Or you're in a situation where you're in front of a group of women.
Yeah.
Right? And you know what the women there for. They looking for everybody to take care of them. That bill need to be clean. They having a good time. They drinking off everybody else. They eating off everybody else. And you don't want to be the one that say, oh, man, I ain't bringing out my car. I ain't paying for this. I ain't this. I ain't that. You don't want to be the broke dude in the group. Right? But you know you don't got it.
Yeah.
And you may have $50 set to the side that you know you need to, there's a bill coming up tomorrow that you need that money
You're
for.
gonna touch it.
But you're going to use that $50 to make yourself be protected from your ego in that moment, your image in that moment, so that your boys ain't looking at you that way or these women not looking at you that way. You knew you shouldn't have even been out. You only had $50 in your account. You should have been in the house.
Yeah.
But you went out to protect the image that I got it all together.
Yeah.
You'll spend your last. You'll put yourself in a financial deficit just so you can be a part of something, just so you don't miss out on the moment. You won't miss out on the memories. I saw somebody say something, though, that was so good. I can't remember who it was, but they were like, bro, all them things that's outside right now that you so ready to get to, they're going to be there when you make it.
Yeah.
They're not going nowhere. The club's going to be there. The women going to be there.
Yeah.
The experiences, the vacations, the destinations, all those things, they're going to be there when you make it.
Yeah.
You're not missing out on anything by saying no, by staying in the house, by denying yourself from these things. All you're doing is building muscle. All you're doing is preparing yourself in the season. All you're doing is getting right. And guess what? You're going to be able to stun on them in a different way.
Yeah.
It's going to feel good when you can do it from a place of abundance.
100%.
When you can pay the tab and not have to worry about the cost.
Yeah.
There ain't nothing like when the bill comes, you just throw that card on the table.
Yeah.
You ain't worried about
I
it.
got it. Yeah.
It's there.
Yeah.
But when you can't do that, I'm not saying that you can't be, have no fun. You have to just live a miserable life. All I'm saying is, if you know you shouldn't, why are you doing it?
Yeah.
It's probably coming from a place in you that needs some acceptance, that needs some validation, that needs to lie to themselves. And if you're lying to yourself, you're just doing yourself a disservice.
A major disservice, brother. And not only that, but you put yourself in a position where you're going to suffer the next day.
Oh, my God.
Right. the alcohol may be in your system and you feeling good. You know you only got $50 in your account. You're gonna cash out the group 35. You may spend that last 10 or that last 5 to 7 on a $5 biggie bag at Wendy's because you need it. But you're gonna wake up the next day and you're gonna get that bank account reminder to your phone. Oh, there's $3 left in your account.
Yep.
Don't let autopay come. You know, Apple.
Don't let Apple.
Boy, Apple will send you so many different.
As soon as you got just enough, it's taking all of it.
You know what I'm saying? And then now you're in the season of anxiety again, right? Everybody's posting pictures from last night, feeling good, still operating. They're going out to brunch the next day, and you're like, nah, I'm straight.
Yep.
Now you're going back to turning things down again. Now you're going back to, okay, let me go hit Uber real quick. But you realize you got to go put gas in your car.
Yep.
So if you put yourself in these positions to please other people, to make it seem like you have something that you don't, you're going to suffer.
Yes.
Right? And that's never good.
It will just be a cycle. It'll repeat itself over and over again.
Yeah.
When you got to wake up that next morning and you dreading to open your bank account, that's a sign you shouldn't have went out that last night.
100%.
You either did too much or you ain't have enough to do anything with in the first place.
Yeah.
You should have stayed your tail at home.
100%.
Let me hear your point number 3, Rex.
Yeah, so when a man goes silent, he's probably drowning in bills or debt, and he is too ashamed to ask for help or assistance.
That's a fact.
And this was my life.
Yeah.
Right? Being in a space where didn't like to ask for help, because anytime I did ask for help, I always got negative pushback. I always got met with a no. I always got met with, oh, maybe I got you next month. Like, nah, brother, I need help right now.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So now you find yourself trying to pick up odd jobs. You find yourself trying to Uber. And I always thought about it like this. Anytime I needed money, I never made it.
Yeah. Damn, Rex.
Right? You know what I'm saying? When you need it, like for instance, when I did my 3 to 4 years of doing Uber, the nights that I didn't necessarily need, I was just out there working, I could get to 125, 85, whatever that may be.
Bro.
But the days I needed to make 60 or I needed to hit 75, super slow. I'm sitting in parking lots waiting on Uber deliveries and ain't nothing popping up.
That's all fact.
You know what I'm saying? Or just like going to the casino. I remember going with my family to the casino. Everybody's thinking like, okay, if I hit the jackpot, man, we can pay off our debt for the year. So we were putting all these money into the little coin slot shop machines, playing blackjack and all these different type of things. When you need it, you leave with nothing.
You get nothing. You lose money.
You lose money. So, and then that asking for help piece, it's like, that's going to hit a blow to your ego. You don't know how to ask for help. So me, instead of asking for help, I'll ask for prayer in hopes
that somebody going,
they're like, hey, you good? You know what I'm saying? You straight? But the chances of that is very, very slim.
Yeah.
And then one thing you don't want to do is ask for help. And then now you have to owe somebody. So now you got your bills to pay for. You got your groceries to take care of. You got gas to take care of. And then in the back of your mind, you have a deadline to pay somebody back.
Yep.
It's a tough spot to be in.
It's a slippery slope, man. It's a very slippery slope, man. You know, the tough part about that is you end up in a place where because you're always living from scarcity, abundance, you're not mature enough for it.
At all.
Because what you should be doing, if you know that you've been living in scarcity, is when you're up, putting stuff to the side.
Yeah.
You shouldn't look at that money as, oh, I paid all my bills and I got about $300 left over. Let me go get them shoes that I've been wanting. Let me go get that outfit I've been wanting. What you should be focused on is, I know that it's very likely I'm going to need this $300 again.
Yeah.
Let me put this $300 aside for a rainy day. Let it be there to save me in case emergency happens. Because what's going to happen is as soon as you got that extra $300, Fashion Nova going to send that text and say, we got a 75% off site sale tonight. And as soon as you're going to be like, I've been having stuff on my cart for a minute. Here you go purchasing everything. And the next day, your tire going to go flat. The next day, your car going to shut down on you and need a new battery. As soon as you spend all the excess that you got, that's when things going to go downhill. You prepare in the abundance that you have for a scarcity season. That's what saved me all of last year. Even though I lost all that money, I was able to go through a whole year without working, making no money in my business because I saved when I was up. And so while I can be upset about the fact that it didn't go the way I want to, I thank God that he gave me the wisdom to save when I had it, because it saved me. Right? And so, y'all, like, that is a lot of times when we live in scarcity so much, we don't know how to deal with abundance, and then we just end up in a cycle. We end up in a cycle.
What you got for next point, brother?
My point number 3 is when a man is in that financial, season and he's struggling and he's silent, man, he will withhold himself from dating because he feels and believes that he will not be good enough for any of the women out there, that he won't be valued by any of the women out there, that he's not good enough to be with a good woman, right? this is reinforced by a lot of things in society, right? We live in such a transactional culture. Everybody is talking about me, 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 me.
Yeah.
I don't think that most of the women online are even worth the time for a man that is trying to build, because so many of them have selfish spirits,
Yeah.
right? Everything is about what am I getting out of this relationship, not what am I bringing to this relationship.
100%.
I saw somebody say, I think it was last night I was watching a video, and somebody said lust, right? And not just the act of lust from a sexual perspective, but lust in and of itself as a spirit is something that says to people, what am I getting out of it?
Yeah.
Love is about what am I giving to this? How am I building it? How am I protecting it? How am I showing up for it? How am I actually contributing to this scenario to make it better? Not what am I taking and withdrawing, right? And a lot of the men and the women in our society today are only focused on what they can get out of the relationship.
Yeah.
But you see, the difference is when men being the ones that kind of know at the end of the day, I got to give, I got to give, I got to give, I got to always be available to give, have a mindset of I'm just looking for somebody that's not a taker.
Yeah.
Women, on the other hand, often being on the receiving side and being receptors naturally, right, come from a perspective of what are you going to give me?
Yeah.
I'm going to take.
Yeah.
But I want the men out there to remember this. There are a number of good women who aren't agreeing with these opinions that a lot of these women have, who are more than willing to look for a man who is becoming, who are accepting of a man who realizes his current limitations, but knows his future abundance, that knows what God has planned for his life. And so I want the men that are in that phase where you feel like you're not capable or you're not ready or you're not good enough to understand that for many of these women out here, you are. And for a lot of these women that are not going to look your way or are going to cut you off, even though you got all these things together, it's just your finances aren't there. You don't want to deal with them anyway, because that is going to put you in a constant and perpetual people-pleasing place. You're going to constantly feel like you got to perform. And if you have to be performative, it's not love.
Right.
If you don't feel like you have a person that would hold you up in a moment where you're falling down, it's not love. You are with nothing but a taker.
Yep.
And that is not going to be a solid foundation. So, that's what happens when men are suffering silence. They feel like they can't date. And the funny thing is you miss out on probably the best moment to find that woman is when you don't have it. Because then you really know she's with you for you.
Exactly. But you will fail and you will fall short if you leave with money when you don't have it.
And that's a fact.
Right.
That makes it even worse.
It makes it worse because now you feel like you have to uphold something or keep something going that you can't sustain.
Man.
And a woman don't hate nothing more than a man that acts like that. You
change that temperature.
You lead a certain way, and then you pull off the table because you hit a certain, and then you blame them for why you don't have it no more, right? Versus you being honest. Now, I told my lady from the jump, I'm a college student. You know what I'm saying? Yes, do I want to go do dates? Yes, do I want to travel? Absolutely. But I can't do all of that right now.
Yep.
Right? Are you okay with that?
Are you okay with that?
Right? Because if you take this route, then you have to be. I never led with money.
I swear.
I always did what I knew I could do.
Yeah.
Right? I remember early in college when I was dating, we was going to restaurants. We weren't going to fine dining.
No.
We was doing the Chili's. We was doing the Applebee's.
Yep.
We was doing the places that had the specials.
Yep.
Remember one time my lady asked me, can we go somewhere else?
Yeah.
I was like, absolutely. But if we were to, then that means we can't do nothing for the rest of the month.
Yeah.
And that'd be the main thing that we do.
Yeah.
Or I can take that same money and we can get groceries for the week.
Yeah.
Or 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Right. So it's like, because I was so upfront with where I was.
Yeah.
I'm not out here trying to pay for no trips or pay for flights. No, I'm going to be honest.
Yeah.
And when you're not honest, right, you don't leave any room you don't leave any wiggle room.
Yeah.
And it sets you up for disappointment.
That's good, bro. And I'm telling y'all from experience, and I didn't lead with money like how I got my woman or nothing like that. But while I was with my woman, very early within the first, what? Well, really, we had already been messing around, but we weren't official yet. Couple months after we had been official, I started getting that internship.
Yeah.
So I had an abundance of money coming in. And y'all, I'm telling you, that switch up, it hurt.
Yeah.
It hurt. And not because she couldn't deal with me not having the money to do certain things, but because I presented myself in doing these extravagant things to impress her so early on in our relationship that it has set an expectation that, oh man, anything that I want, I'm going to get. Yeah. That's what she felt. I remember to this day, it was a great feeling. Don't get me wrong. But looking back on it, I'm like, boy, was that stupid.
Yeah.
She had wanted this Gucci belt she had saw. We talking about her. She ain't nothing but 18, maybe 19 years old in college. She had wanted this Gucci belt. I kept it in my mind. I'm going to get this for her. I'm a junior. I'm working this internship. I went and I spent $500 on that Gucci belt for Valentine's Day.
Goodness.
I had her friends kind of like surprise her, bring her into the room and stuff. And they were, everybody was so happy to pray. It felt good. Everybody was like, oh, look at that. She was blown away. Ask me how many times she's worn that belt.
Sick.
That belt has maybe been worn 5 times over the course of 6 years. But they are things that I've gotten her that didn't cost me a dime.
Right.
Cost me $5, $20, $50.
Use it all the time.
That she uses all the time.
Yeah.
That she holds closer to her heart.
Yeah.
And I learned after a while, like, yo, this money don't matter, bro. Like, it matters, but like the cost of things is really about the cost from your heart.
Yeah.
What did it cost you from your heart to do this?
Yeah.
That was a transactional gift.
Yeah.
I loved her, but I bought that gift because I wanted her to be the star on campus. I wanted her to be with the man that took care of her and do all this. Nah. But when I wrote that letter by hand
Yep.
on some parchment paper, and then I burned the edges
Yeah.
to make it look all rustic, that made her cry,
Yeah.
right?
It's a different ball game.
She'll look at that letter every single day. There's a difference, and you don't have to go so far beyond that to put yourself in a financial constraint. Because at the end of the day, when you're living from that perspective and you're leading with that money, if you ever do have to switch up, it's going to do nothing but cause problems. And you're going to find out real quick what type of woman you got and if she's really with you for the storms.
Absolutely. Man, that's good.
All right, let me hear your signs, man, and then we're going to close out.
Absolutely. So key signs to look out for when a man is suffering in silence, right? Financially. He becomes more irritable, restless, and rude, right? His responses are very snappy. His no becomes aggressive, right? His energy shifts. He begins to overthink everything financial. He's calculating the cost. Every time you ask him for something, he's thinking about what it's going to cost him, right? He turns down opportunities to hang out. You want to go to the club. You want to go to the spot. Y'all want to go to brunch. You want to do all these different type of things. His friends are asking him to hang out. He's like, nah, bro, I can't do it.
Yep.
I'm chilling this weekend, B-Dog. I ain't know nothing, right? He loses his sex drive, right? It's not that he doesn't want to,
Yeah.
but his body won't allow him to. He's in a season or state of fight or flight.
Yes.
Nobody wants to operate or do something that's going to please them if they know they aren't right financially, especially a man. He cuts back on spending and splurging, right? If he is that guy that goes out, if he is that guy that spends or splurges or picks up the bill, you won't see him do it.
Yeah.
And it takes him back to childhood whenever money was tight. We had to, my mom and them would always say, all right, the lights on too long.
Yeah.
All right, y'all didn't ate already a bowl of cereal already. Don't go to bowl number 2, right? They randomly start picking up odd jobs to dig stuff out of the hole.
Yeah.
But one thing I learned is just because you're working harder don't mean you're gonna be making more money. Right?
It's a fact.
Right. He has constant random calls from bill collectors that gets ignored. He like, you may be sitting by, I'm like, who was that calling you? Oh, don't worry about it.
Yeah, nobody.
Yeah, unknown. You know what I'm saying? His card gets declined when attempting to make purchases.
Yeah.
There's no worse feeling than that.
Yeah.
Remember being in the store buying groceries as me and my lady, my card get declined, and I had to look at it. Hey, you got your card in you?
Hey.
You got to make excuses in the store, right? You get.
I got to check is in the savings, but all the money's in the savings.
It's gonna take 24 hours to transfer.
Yeah.
Right. Or you have frequent visits to the payday loans to borrow money he knows that he can't repay. This ain't something he's gonna tell you about.
Yeah.
But he gonna go pick up a loan.
Yeah.
Then he gonna have them payments on those loans.
Yep.
And one of the worst things I did, it was 2 years ago. I couldn't. I needed to take my dog to the vet. I knew I didn't have no bread for it, and I knew it was gonna cost me about $350. So I called them and said, hey, can I do a payment plan? They was like, no, but we have a system that you can get a loan. You get approved for $2,000 today. So they approved me for $1,500, and they were just like, whatever you use, just know you got to pay it back.
Yeah.
The interest grew $2 per day per $100.
What?
$2 per day per every 100.
2% on every $100 compounded.
Every single day, bro.
Every day.
I had borrowed. They gave me access to $1,500. I had borrowed $500, bro. And me not paying attention to it, waiting to the end of the month, that $500 was at $1,000.
That's insane, bro.
It was at $1,000.
They need to be prosecuted. That should be illegal. That is predatory lending.
And when I tell you, like, in the biggest hole I've ever been in my life, because now that 500 took me 4 months to pay off and ended up paying like $2,000.
That's insane.
So you'll find yourself in those situations. So those are signs to look out for in a man that goes silent.
That's powerful, man.
And can you discuss ways that can help?
Absolutely. So first off, when you want to pay down debt, there's a few different methods. One of them is like the snowball method, which says pay things down with the smallest one first. So like the one that has the minimal balance. So if you have a $300 loan out there, a $1,000 loan, and then $4,000 debt, all those different types. One method is take down the $300 one first so that you can gain momentum. You got one off the way. So you pay that one down. Once that 300 one is off, you're just paying the minimum on the other two at that time. Then you take the money that you were putting in excess to pay down that $300 one and you're attacking the $1,500 one. You pay that one down and just pay the minimum on the $4,000 one or the big one. And you continue to work it that way. That's one method. Another method is attack the one with the highest interest first because interest is going to really make it you spend more money over and over again.
Yeah.
So you want to attack the highest one and pay the minimums first. So you'll pay the minimum on the two lowest ones and then you knock that highest one out and then work your way down. Right. So those are a couple methods. But the number one thing that I'm going to say is whether you're doing credit repair, whether you're doing these hacks to lower your debt, the key is to one, prepare in your seasons of excess so that you won't have to do those things.
Yep.
And two, you cannot add more debt in the process of trying to get rid of debt.
Yeah.
Because oftentimes we're trying to do things to compensate for them. But if you don't have the financial mindset for it, you're really just setting yourself up for failure.
Yeah.
Now, if you have the financial mindset, the third thing I'm going to tell you to do is something that I've done and it does work. But you have to know that you're going to have the consistent income to be able to pay it off in time, or else it's going to cost you more. And that is consolidation.
Yeah.
Which is where if I have 4 different lines of credit that are costing me 10% interest here and 17 here and X there, going to get one large lump sum loan that covers those amounts. So let's say all those add up to $10,000. I'll go get a $10,000 loan on a low interest rate that's maybe 3 or 4%, or is a delayed interest rate is no interest for a whole year.
Yep.
I'll use that to pay off all 4 of those, and then I'll just be paying on that loan at a lower interest rate. It will lower your monthly payments. It will make it cheaper. But the problem is if you do not pay that off in time, it will cost you more in the long run.
Yep.
So those are some strategies that you can use. But more than anything, get yourself financially literate. There are channels like Earn Your Leisure, Bigger Pockets that you can watch on YouTube that will teach you about personal finance in a way that will get you out of this scenario or will prepare you for when you have the money to know what to do with it. When you get that money that come into your account, some unexpected money, use it to pay down your debt. Don't use it to get on a trip. Your debt has to become the thing that you hate the most, and you have to try to kill it every single day.
That's good. And I'm gonna add just a few more.
Yeah.
All right. Create your monthly budget.
Good.
Right.
Absolutely.
That's one thing. Create boundaries for your spending. Right. Cut out unnecessary spending. If you're in a season of saving or in a season of paying off debt, cut out fast food. Cut out going out to restaurants. Cut out going shopping. Right. Focus on the debt. Right. Speak with a financial advisor if you're in a position. A lot of times a consultation is going to be free.
Absolutely.
But if you have enough money to pay for them, then get that advice.
Yep.
Learn to be okay with missing out on things.
Yes.
Right. Have an honest conversation with your partner about where you are financially so they don't have these high expectations of you. Right. Set an account minimum to prevent yourself from overspending. So meaning if you normally go all the way to 0, set your account minimum to 50 or even go to 100 and say, once I hit 100, I'm broke. Right. And I can't spend any more money. And like Myles said, educate yourself on ways to become more financially literate. Right now, I'm reading a book, I Will Teach You How to Be Rich. Right. And I'm learning so much about my money, about what to do with my money, and even thinking about long-term finances. So those, hopefully you're paying attention to these help.
Absolutely, y'all. We appreciate y'all. This has been an amazing episode. Before we close, one more time, we want to give a shout out to Natural E-Man Products. You know, like Rex told you, when you're going through these seasons of your finances being in struggle, your libido, you don't feel like doing, sexual acts. You don't feel like you have the energy to do it because you fight in the world all day. This is going to help you fight better. It's going to give you some clarity mentally. It's going to give you some energy and your testosterone to make you feel like that warrior that you need to be to get through this war that you're dealing with. Thank y'all so much, man. And if you need help with navigating seasons of financial turmoil, if you need help in your organizations because you know that you have customers, the people that you serve, your employees, the members of your leadership team, they're struggling. I want to help. So I want you to go to milesthemillennial.com, where I will be able to book a consultation and we can discuss all the things that can happen and ways I can come in and speak to your team to be able to enable them to have the right mindset to tackle the challenges that they're dealing with in life. I don't want you guys to go through these things by yourself. And if you change your mind, you truly can change your life. So go to milesthemillennial.com, that's Miles with a Y, and book a consultation so we can walk through those next steps.
Absolutely. And it's your boy Rex Howard Jr., relationship and sex coach, personal development coach as well. If you are in a relationship and you're looking for ways to navigate conflict, you're looking for ways to navigate trauma or even intimacy, you can book a call with me at resolvecc.com. And if you're outside the state of Texas and you need help with your mindset, you need help getting refocused, you need help getting unstuck, you can go to resolvecc.com and also book a coaching call with me. And if you just need general information on relationships, personal development, and just that little boost of confidence, go to I am Rex Howard Jr. on Instagram or Let's Talk Like Men podcast. And all you got to do is scroll. I promise you, we have probably the most binge-worthy page that you'll see out there.
Absolutely. We thank you guys so much. We'll see you guys for part 3 of Silence is Violence. I think we'll have a guest on the next one. So
Yeah.
we'll catch you guys next week. Peace.